Okay, here's a quick video rundown of what's going on around the house and life in general. I finished my flooring with the exception of that little guest bathroom there. And it looks really super now that it's all in. I'm currently working on just a couple things. We have a bookcase in, that's been in for a week or so. And I've been making the doors, the cabinet doors and the shelves. It's going to have two shelves above on each of these bays and then one below. So three, three, and three. What else? So there's going to be a baseboard that runs pretty much the same as this, just going to wrap around and all the way. The fireplace is going to be pretty soon on the list, thankfully. We got to that point now, and we're still figuring out our design. But one great thing we've done recently is we fixed the lighting in here. So now I have a dimmer switch for my lights. I also have we changed the fan out, so now we have a new fan. I also have a new baby there. So that'll be handy in the summertime. And the lighting's much better during the evenings. The light doesn't just blind you like the other one did. It just shined right on your face. The light's way more soft and it's kind of spread evenly. And time to go outside. Well, what's new? Today is the nicest day that we've had here in weeks and weeks. Probably since we've been here, actually. It's 50 degrees and sunny today. Just a lovely day. And the kids went to the park earlier. Had a blast at the park. I'm working on the doors out here. I have to do some sanding and obviously filling some spots here. Oh, and I'm also chipping away at this carpet pile. I had probably 1,000 square feet of carpet and padding sitting right here. And I've been slowly but surely putting it in the trash. And it's almost gone. I'm going to flip this over if I can. Let's see. Is it flipped? No. Let's see here. Boomer Tech. No, I guess I can't flip it. So anyways, have a relaxing day. Kate's at the store. Kids are playing inside. I've been wanting to talk for a while about the kind of a broad issue, but it has to do with migration within America right now. And specifically the migration from liberal states to more conservative states. It's happening now more than I think ever before. And the reasons for that should be pretty obvious. But I think it's kind of hitting a crescendo. And if it hasn't hit yet, it's probably going to pretty soon. And Idaho has been the recipient of quite a few blue staters, coastal staters. My neighbor over here is from Hawaii. He grew up here, but he wanted to move back. My neighbor over here is from California himself. I think somewhere Central Valley. And so there's a real vitriol, real animosity amongst the locals. Not all of them, but many of them, towards people that are coming in from out of the state. Just in general, but especially towards people who have come from liberal states, particularly Washington and California. And my perspective on this hasn't really changed since I've been here. Um, when we first moved, it was one of the things I was most anxious about, how we were going to be perceived, if we were going to be, persecuted in any real way, I will say that I think it's gone well for us here. Um, it hasn't been that bad, but it is real. It does exist. And we've had a couple of incidences where um, people have let us know that they don't care for us one bit by virtue of the fact that we're from California. So I actually had the chance to talk to one of the people that, in their own way, kind of let me know they weren't happy about us here. Um, and pretty much just, explained, hey, we despise Californians, at least that liberalism, as much as you do, probably maybe even more. Um, it took a lot to up and leave. It took a lot. Um, it was a big risk coming out here, and but not a totally uncalculated one. We've kind of lined it up the best we can. But anyways, we've had a lot of positive interactions with people, more positive than anything else. And for the beef that they have, I really can't fault them for it. I really can't. Because when I put myself in their shoes, and I think, okay, if I grew up here and I love this area, and I see the rest of the country just going down the hill, towards communism, totalitarianism, and then I see the people who voted those problems in moving to my area where we've had enough common sense to avoid these things. Um, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense why they would look at anybody from out of state as a threat to their way of life. And even irrespective of what the politics are of the people who are moving in, let's just say I voted the right way or whatever. I held the same beliefs as your average Idahoan out here, mainline conservative, whatever. Um, I'm still driving prices up by buying a house, So there's other issues that are more economic than political out here, that have been the result of this mass migration from other states. Um, so if I could tell the average Idahoan one thing, well, a couple of things. Number one, I get it. And this problem that's been introduced from these coastal states is it's a symptom. It's not a cause. It's a symptom of an even greater problem. Um, if if I could put it succinctly, you got new neighbors because we got new neighbors in California. Um, the culture in California has changed drastically, um, especially since Reagan's amnesty. Um, but it is not. California is not what it used to be, in very many ways. Um, there's there's two different cultures in that state, and as far as I can tell, um, they don't complement each other. There's no complementarity. Um, it's not this big kumbaya of diversity that the left loves to sell. Um, I see an unwillingness to assimilate from a lot of the newest arrivals, and you know, certain people are more empowered than others. Um, so that section of the country is going through a massive change that's not going to reverse its course anytime soon. Um, and my respects to the people who have chosen to stay there and ride it out. Um, I was pretty much convinced that that's what we were going to do, come what may, because God has just made it possible for us for the last 10 years to do that, to be there and do that. Um, until kind of uh, the direction for us kind of changed. A lot of things just kind of fell into place this past year. Uh, but yeah, things are going to continue down the same road that they have been in California. The state will be heading towards financial and resource struggles, shortages, deficits, and the culture of that state is, like I said, it's not what it used to be. It's very divided. Um, there's no national sentiment. There's not even really any state um, pride in being a Californian. There is, but it's not in the sense of, we live in the greatest state. It's, I'm from California, look at my California culture, which is all just, it's more, it's more to do with Hollywood and brands and, just style and all this vapid, just useless stuff. So we're dealing with the fallout from being, migrants, not refugees. I wouldn't say refugees, but migrants. And there's been a bit of a cultural shock here. There's been some pushback. I understand the pushback. I think we kind of have the attitude of the migrants of older times, the ones that knew the gift that they were given by being allowed to live in this country, could not try hard enough to assimilate, to absorb the culture, and they kept their identity from where they came from, of course, but it was compartmentalized, and it was certainly in deference to the culture that they were grafted into. And so I didn't see that one bit with any of the new arrivals to California, which is really a shame because, that's, if this is such a wonderful opportunity for you, you would think that you'd want to get up to speed on what it truly means to be an American as soon as possible. We saw very few people that actually left their culture behind and became American. Because what is it to be an American anymore? Not many people really know or appreciate. I'm interested in learning what it means to be an Idahoan. I'm certainly interested in, the culture out here and everything. And really just generally to be an American no matter where I'm at, because, supposedly we're a united nation, we have 50 states and all united. So what else can I say about it? Yeah, this is a moment in our nation's history right now. A lot of us are really disenfranchised with the way that the election went, especially the the lead up to the election, and so there's other measures that now have to be taken for our posterity, for the future of our children, for our well-being going forward as a country, whatever form that takes. I bought a big sticker for the back of my car. It says Americanism, not globalism. And essentially isms are hard to define. I guess you get as many definitions as as many people as you asked, but really what that just means is nationalism. a lot of people on the left assume that any nationalism is Nazism, is white nationalism. And although we're a majority white country, I don't think it's fair to group national pride and national identity with white nationalism. I think that's a complete departure from rational thought to go that far. But essentially, I put that on there because no matter what license plate is on the back, um, the values of our country have never changed. Um, the truth is unchanging. What makes a nation great will never change. The embodiment of the greatness of our nation from yesteryear is still within us as a country, as a people, I believe. Um, and so, really, just trying to return to that tradition and have an appreciation for what our forefathers gave us and wanting to nurture that, pass it on, make it better, and pass it on. Is I mean, that's what Americanism is to me. Globalism has you thinking about wars in Yemen and, water shortages in Africa. And although those things are of import, are they really what we ought to be preoccupied with as Americans when we have so many more problems uh, domestically, at the state level, in our homes? You have to. The church teaches that the family is the basic building block of society, and that a family is a microcosm of this societal structure that we see around us here, with the dad being the head of the home, with the mother being subservient, um, and the children going down the line from there. So, in other words, this authority structure, this hierarchy that occurs in the family, just as natural law, as God created us, extends out into our communities and into our government. So, anyways, that's our goal in getting here. I see a lot more of that sort of mindset intact, whether it's overtly stated. I mean, you can tell by the way that your neighbor lives his life, without him actually going so far as to say this or this. This is what matters. This is what matters. We can just pretty much tell. And I feel like we're home here in a way that I never felt at home in California. It's interesting because there's a big dichotomy between the weather out here versus the weather in California. It was so beautiful out there. And it is pretty here too. But we moved in the dead of winter. It's been very cold. I've had to get used to the snow again. There's not much green. I thrive on green and sunshine, and I feel more like I'm in Seattle sometimes with the amount of, or lack of sunshine, really. But things are looking up. The spring is coming. We're getting more and more comfortable with our routines. The kids have great friends next door to each side of us. So there's a lot of unknowns coming up, but I really feel like moving here, we've set the framework for a prosperous life for all of us for the next, however long, you name it, how many generations will be. God willing, we can stay here and make it. And we stand in solidarity with all the other families that we've met out here that have come from for similar reasons have come here. And there are many, many, many. So I would ask, if I had one favor to ask of the Idahoans, it would just be to give us a chance. Don't necessarily distrust us, get to know us. Because we're going to be your allies, if ever things really become dire, we're going to rely on each other. And, we're happy to be in a community where we can rely on each other. We have a shared culture. And so, time will tell exactly what direction our country is going to head, but we feel at peace with having moved. And we hope that in time our fellow Idahoans here welcome us and accept us. So I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. Yeah, there's Abigail.
Hi.
Hi, Abby. All right, sweetie. We'll sign it off there.